Today we will present about the case study, how to shift consumer behaviors to be more sustainable. I like structure, review, and building framework. In summary of case study, highlights the important role of marketing, presents the academic literature from marketing and behavioral science. Foster a structure for conceptualizing and empowering practical customers. The framework is referenced by the SIP. To start with marketing and sustainable consumer behavior, we analyze the question. Why understanding facilitators of sustainable consumer behavior should be of interest to marketers? Firstly, the consumption mindset is key driver of negative environmental impact. Secondly, businesses are able to adapt to the demands of our changing world. Last but not least, socially and environmentally responsible practices have the potential to garner consumer perception of the firm, as well as increases in profitability. Subsequently, we will discuss about shifting consumer to be high sustainability. First and foremost, propose the acronym shift, which reflects the importance of considering how social influence, habit formation, individual self, feelings, and condition, tangibility. The second idea is focused on environmental sustainability. And finally, endeavor to outline the key drivers of sustainable consumption with comprehensive framework.
The shift framework includes social influence, habit formation, the individual self, feeling and cognition, and tangibility. At first, we continue with social influence. The first route to influencing sustainable customer behavior is social influence, and it includes things like social norms, social identities, and social desirables. And we move to the second is habit formation, and it includes many things like discontinuity to change bad habits, penalties, implementation intentions, make it easy, prompt, incentives, and feedback. And the third one is the individual self. Factors linked to the individual self can have a powerful influence on consumption behaviors, and it includes the self-concept, self-interest, self-consistency, individual differences, and self-efficacy. And we move to the fourth one is feeling and cognition. Customers take one of two different routes to action, one that is driven by affect or one that is more driven by cognition. And it includes negative emotion, positive emotion, framing, information, learning and knowledge, and eco-labeling. And we move to the last one is tangibility. And one unique facet of sustainable consumption is that eco-friendly action and outcomes that seem abstract, value, and distant from the self, and it includes matching temporal focus, communicate local and proximal impacts, concrete communication, encourage the desire for tangibles.
My name is Lee. I will present the theoretical indication and direction for the future research. In our literature review, we identify a set of challenges that make sustainable consumption distinct from the typical customer behaviors. Our challenge has the sell-order chaos, the long-term horizon, the requirement of collective action, the need to replace automated with control processes, and the final is the problem of adjustness. Our first challenge is the sell-order chaos. There are some ways of overcoming the sell-order chaos to increase the sustainable behaviors. The first is a given behavior or a product is positioned on the basis of its symbolic attributes. Encourage the self-concept to be seen as broader than they sell. Agency dream will lead to an increased tendency. And the next, outwardly focused positive emotions such as art, empathy, and moral elevation. Sustainable options and behavior may have unique positive association. when compared to traditional options, and connecting sustainable product and behavior to operational role models. The next challenge is the long-term horizon. We have some conclusion. First, the notion of the long-term horizon is related to individual cell in that it is linked to the cell control. Sustainable behaviors that provide greater immediate warmth, glow, feeling, or positive effects, and it is linked to the tangibility as well as shift patterns. And individuals will be more motivated and engaged in sustainable customer behaviors. The next challenge is the challenge of collective action. This means how social influence might operate when considering sustainable actions. A message communicating both the behavior of others and collective implication. Collective future-oriented emotions such as anger and hope, communicating information, climate justice, and collective action is also linked to tangibility. The next challenge is the need to replace automated with control processes. Those who have a red star will be more inclined to train the sustainable customer behavior habits, and tangibility interventions shift people from analytic to experiential processes. And the final problem is the problem of adjustness. Social distance will lead to emotional contagion when emotional response to sustainable behavior are shared with others. Visual communicators will be effective at eliciting other focused emotions, and the action or behavior is sustainable. Analogies will be more likely to encourage customer behavior change.
My name is Nguyên. I would like to reason how to use the SIP framework in the practice. The SIP framework demonstrates many approaches for influencing sustainable consumer habits. It should be highlighted that the framework identifies no one path to behavior modification that works best, because sustainable behavior change frequently faces several hurdles. Combining techniques can be effective. The framework can be used to consider potential hurdles to long-term activity, the major and secondary barriers to iterating in the desired behavior, and then identify applicable techniques to overcome them. I give you an example for this case about Our Horizon. Our Horizon is a non-profit organization whose mission is to reduce petroleum consumption caused by driving vehicles. Social reason and tangibility are two major challenges to reduce petroleum use. In response, Our Horizon has devised an approach that targets both social norms and tangibility. Our Horizon boosted local governments to put warning labels on petrol stations in the same way that many countries currently put warning labels on cigarette packages. This will help to explain what's normatively acceptable, describe tangible and personally meaningful local repercussion. It's crucial to note that various behavior and segments will have different barriers to behavior change. The SIP paradigm may be used to address the major and secondary barriers to environmental behavior change by marketers, policymakers, and organizations. Finally, concluding those, we have emphasized that many of the framework's components may also apply to other beneficial behaviors. However, we should remember that some aspects of sustainable consumption may be unique. In summary, identifying 5 main psychological approaches to supporting long-term consumer behavior change. First, social impact. Second, habit formation. Third, the individual self. Four, feelings and condition. And 5, tangibility. This paradigm will be effective in stimulating sustainable consumer behavior change and all with business. My presentation is here. Thanks for watching and listening.